Hello, and welcome to episode 53 of the 6-Star Business Podcast. I am your host, Evelyn Clark, dialing in from northern New South Wales, Australia. My co-host today is the lovely Bronwyn Coulthard from SABN. Our guest, we have one guest on this episode. It was a very special episode, and this is Filip Fucic from Croatia. Now, Filip is a wonderful man. He's a dad, father of 2 boys, a Lego fan, board game enthusiast, and self-confessed classic nerd turned consultant. He is wonderful. What he does is he helps mentor experts and expert service providers to actually charge what they are worth. This is all about the value. And let's face it, we all have those niggling doubts about the value of our services, and maybe we doubt the price we should be charging and how we show up in the world and who would be worthy to purchase us. Now, all of that stuff gets sorted out with Filip. It's a fabulous conversation, so much to take in and learn and gain from. Sit back and enjoy it. I know you will, and I will see you next week. Okay, so welcome. Here we are, another episode of the 6-Star Business Podcast. I'm your host, Evelyn Clark. Bronwyn Coulthard is my co-host today. Thank you, Bron, for joining me in the co-host chair. It's great to have you.
Of course, I'm very excited. Thank you. First time co-hosting on the 6-Star, and yeah, I'm delighted to be here.
Thank you for joining me. And our guest today, we have one guest. We have Filip from Croatia. Thank you, Filip, for joining us.
Oh, great to be here. Great to be here.
Lovely. So what we usually start with our guests is just a few questions to let our audience know who you are. So could you let us know, I guess, who you are, where you are in the world, who you serve, and something that you like to do outside of work in your spare time for fun, for kicks?
Yeah, absolutely. So first, where I am in the world is far away from Australia. I'm from the capital of Croatia, Zagreb, and I'm currently there. And it's currently cold, so my voice sounds like this. I'm sorry. So, who I usually serve is experts. Yeah. So expert entrepreneurs, people who use their expertise to basically solve problems and forestall future problems for their clients. And that means from architects and lawyers to coders and designers and accountants and photographers of some kinds and stuff like that. So it's a very diverse crowd, let's say, but they all have the same problem, which is the clients don't really see the value enough for them to charge their worth, and that's my crowd. And for the above and beyond business work, well, yeah, I have 2 small kids, 2 boys, 5 and 1. And my favorite thing in the world outside of work is helping them grow, being with them, which leaves very little time actually for anything else. But that's fine. If I do sneak some time in, I usually enjoy board games whenever I can, when Corona lets me, and if not, then computer games. I think that's it.
Nice, good one.
That's cool. Yeah, I think we can understand the not having much time when you have children under the age of 5 or 6 or anything. Yeah. So well done for getting time for board games and computer games. That's
It's purely theoretical, usually, especially with lockdowns and stuff. Luckily, my wife plays as well, so I'm not completely on my own, but yeah.
That's good. Do you find that you start a game and then it's like, okay, got to stop, 7 minutes, and you always have sometimes a bit of a game and play because it just you can never sit down for a full session to play the full game?
Yes, but usually we play something short. We have a smallish collection of shorter and longer things, so that we have some things which are done in 20 minutes. So it's usually
Perfect.
it's usually doable. One
Yeah.
week, one night a week, maybe sometimes with with a lot of well wishing, but yeah. Yeah. But yeah, being uh, being a full time. So we both work full time from home, which means that we can dictate some things, which helps.
Tell me a bit about your journey, Philip, that has
Mm.
brought you to where you are today in the way you help all these people.
Well, it's an interesting story. I think at least to me, because it's not linear. Let's say a lot of bumps. So I I'm a business school graduate, and I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur or a consultant. That's why I went into business school in the first place. Um, and I started with business plan writing, for which I got some awards, and I made my own business plan for a dream of mine, which was having my own company. And since it was an awarded business plan, I said, okay, let's do it. Right. Um, that was in 2009 in the world to start the company. Uh, we held on for like 2.5 years. We got up to 8 people, but it just choked and died. So I was then employed by an IT company as a marketing manager for 5 years. And there I basically started um, focusing on strategic marketing. Now, strategic marketing is the non-operative part of marketing. So deciding on what you do, right? Who's the market, and how should you position yourself, and pricing and stuff. And so it has a great advantage that everybody needs it, and it has a great disadvantage is that nobody knows they need it. Just this small thing. So
It's often
uh,
the way, isn't it? Like, yeah, it's something everyone needs, but they just don't know they need it. Yeah.
yes, absolutely, absolutely. It's a very typical thing with expert services, and it's a universal experience, I think. Um, and I'll come back to my story. Just it's a paradox that I call the expert's paradox in general. When you're an expert, you're dealing with people who have uh, no idea on how important their issue actually is and how deep it can run, right? So people who need you don't really appreciate what you do. And people who can appreciate what you do are your colleagues, which are not going to hire you because they're your colleagues. They don't need you. So that's what I call the expert's paradox. So that was one of my first instances of seeing that and dealing with that. So let me get back. At the end of that 5 year period, about my father got really sick. Uh, uh, he's fine now, but back then he was in a coma for 7 months.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah, uh, cancer complications. He miraculously recovered. He is great, but he could only be we could only visit him from like 3:30 to 4:30. Now tell me a corporate job that will allow you to go there every day and be there at 3:30 across the million people city, right? No such thing. So they were fine with me going once, twice, but not every day, right? So, and I wanted to be there. So I basically um, asked my boss, how would you like to have the same thing from me, but for like 10% less money? And he said, what are you suggesting? And I said, well, I'll make my own company. I'll become a vendor, not employee anymore, and you'll get whatever you're getting. You just have no right to know where I am and what I'm doing as long as you're getting what you're getting, right? And we basically made that a deal. I started getting up at 6 a.m. and doing everything, and then being there. And like I said, my father recovered. He got shipped home on Christmas Eve, like in a kids movie. And he's driving. That's a really happy end. But I kind of got into the groove of it, and I started also taking other clients and actually minimizing that work, because here I could specialize. I could only do the things that I was really the best at doing. Well, out of all of the things that I do, this was the best that I could, right? And this was strategic marketing. So I started having multiple clients, but for everybody, I also did pricing. I did other things connected to marketing management, but also pricing. So I took my own advice and I specialized into something that is obviously not really done often. Um, and I specialized in pricing. And then Corona happened, which was a great thing for me. I don't think you hear that often, and I have no right to profit from such a horrible thing. Well, profit is a bad word, but it only did good things for me professionally, um, and it's through no fault or uh, no action of my own, right? Because
In
suddenly,
what way? Can I just ask? In what
yeah,
way?
of course.
Can you give a couple of examples?
I'll give you a great one. Um, it used to be unprofessional to even try to give advice over Zoom. Well, that then it was Skype, right? What do you mean consulting over Skype? That's not done, right? If you want to be a consultant, come down here and buy me a lunch. If you can't afford that, well, right? Um, and suddenly it was like, you just stay wherever the hell you are. Thank you very much. Don't come any nearer. No need. I can hear you. It's fine, right? And suddenly I could work with the whole world without traveling or so leaving my wife with the little kids and saying, sorry, I have to work, right? Um, so that was an amazing opportunity for me. And up to this point, I have worked with 10 countries, um, which are spanning from Canada to Australia. So I work with the UK. I work with Ireland, with Denmark, with Netherlands, Canada, Australia, South Africa, Singapore, Hong Kong, and Australia. I think I got them all. But anyway, uh, I did all that sitting here in right next to Italy. It's a very good geographical location. I can work with all of those without ever working after midnight or before 6 a.m. So and I can get in that for hour window where I'm with my kids from 4 to 8 p.m. It all works. So basically, it freed the idea of working from home exclusively.
Certainly sounds it. That's great.
So that's basically my journey. About 6 months ago, I started Well, a potential client said, "Oh well, that's great. Where can I find you?" And I was like, "Nowhere." And that's where I started to make content. So I have a YouTube channel, a starting one, and I do LinkedIn content. I do like 2 videos a week, um, and I have a free Q&A where people from all over the world literally come and asking things. Then I record it, then I put it on YouTube, then I put a clip on LinkedIn, and I make a professional video every week with script and props and jokes and stuff like that. Because pricing is boring. Come on, this stuff is boring. So I have to throw in a few jokes and innuendos and make people laugh a little bit. And because it's very useful, right? That's the problem with economics in general. It's boring, but it's very useful, and it sometimes changes people's lives.
Very
Um,
true.
pricing is something that we're not really taught, especially those wonderful, smart um, people who specialize. So specialized accountants or niche lawyers or like I said, a photographer, a nutritionist, um, an ethics investigator. I mean, there's really a lot of industries that have great smart people who were never really taught how to price, and then they mostly uh, muddle by with copying others and well wishing and wishing they didn't say stuff they did say in negotiation, and um, with just a little, how can I say self defense, negotiation self defense training, they can do much better and fund their missions, as Jonathan Stark says. So I love my job. This is the greatest thing ever. It allows me to work with people from all over the world and from all circumstances of life, and actually make a difference. And that's just something that I well, I wanted it, of course, but I couldn't imagine how it would work. And this crazy situation that we're in, it kind of fits perfectly. So yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Sounds like it really played into, it's benefited you in so many ways. Which, and you shouldn't feel bad because there are many people who have found the same. It's life,
it's
these things, you didn't, yeah, you're just there, you're doing your thing, and the universe said, hey, you can
yeah,
now continue your craft and your skills and your genius and deliver it in this way to more people.
yeah. It turned out that this was a good fit, and I think it uncovered, just like with work from home, in general. I think it uncovered just how productive that can be. Because why should you at this day and age really have to go across the planet to have a meeting with somebody? I mean, it was viewed as unproductive, as well,
Yeah.
it's not the same thing. It's not. In some ways it's better,
Mm.
in some ways it's worse, yes, but
Yeah.
mm, that doesn't mean it's completely unworkable, and it opens up. I mean, I have a joint program now with Paul Ashley Jensen, and he's on the Pacific coast of Australia. And we usually have a meeting a day, sometimes two, and that's my morning, his afternoon, and then my nighttime, he's morning, but it works. I'm working with somebody who is 12 hours away from me. So that's not something that we got taught as possible, and it's every day now. So yeah, I think it's a wonderful thing.
Philip, I have a question. You obviously now, as a result of the pandemic, have a global business.
Yeah.
Have you found any, I guess, challenges with advising on pricing when you're dealing with people in different, countries, different exchange rates, amounts? Yeah, a whole heap of. I can just imagine. So if you want to speak to that, that would be awesome, actually.
Great question. Um, well, every case is different, obviously. Exchange rates is not that difficult. I you heard my list of countries. These are either EU or well, maybe a part of the Commonwealth or the US. So there's really not many challenges there. People are okay with either euros or US dollars, and everybody understands advice in that. Um, Different countries will have different levels, yes, but that can be the different levels of purchasing power parity. Some things which are some countries are more expensive than others. Let's say it like that. But no, I have a global price, and it works. I translate it to Australian dollars or whatever, but it works. And as for clients, most of them are dealing with their local economy anyway. So it's fairly easy to see. There's tools. I made some YouTube videos about it on how you can level up and see. Oh, okay. If I go with South African prices to the US and just revert them to $2, I'm going to be laughed out of the building, right? It's like somebody said, oh, you want to buy my Mercedes Benz? It's $1,000. Yeah, get out. So you can't. That's absolutely not simple, but it can be done, and I've done it many times. It's a routine part of the job, right? So internationalization, so see people jumping in from one market to the other. I've done it myself for myself a dozen times. So, and I did it for clients, but this is not typical. Typically, people want to sell where they are, and since getting to the right price um, depends on um, comparing yourself to well, you can say competition, but actually alternatives. I'll tell you the difference if it's not obvious. Um, it's that's so one thing that you need to know is how much you can afford for the price to be. So it has to be at least that's your expenses, let's say. And people stop here, and that's a big mistake. The other thing is, who do you get compared with? Because nothing is expensive or cheap in a vacuum, right? You're expensive compared to an alternative or something that I see as an alternative. That's not always the same. Um, and the third thing, of course, is the client's budget. So my clients are rarely have one price fits all. It's usually projects, and projects have to be priced and repriced and repriced. And copy pasting a price is very risky in those circumstances, right? So I don't know if I answered your question. Okay. What I wanted,
Yes, you certainly did. Yeah, definitely.
what I wanted to say about the alternatives, right? That's a complicated and fun thing to talk about, because it used to be simple. If you were selling ice cream on a beach, anybody else selling ice cream on the same beach was your competitor. Okay, fine, but that was based on locality, right? Right now, if I'm giving pricing services to Singapore, who's my competition exactly? Other people in Zagreb, Croatia doing the same? No. Other people in Singapore? Maybe. Um, but it's very hard to make a distinction like that, and people think about their competition um, too narrowly and too broadly at the same time. I'll deal with one and then the other. The more simple thing is too broadly. So Kia makes cars, right? And um, Ferrari makes cars. Are they competition? Not really. There's nobody in this world trying to decide if they're going to buy a Kia or a Ferrari, right? Yes, their products have four wheels and they get you from point A to point B. They're not competition. There's nothing, absolutely nothing that Kia can do with their pricing, which will affect Ferrari sales and vice versa. So that means they're not competition, right? That's the easy part. The more complicated part is the alternatives route. So I know a great business opportunity. There's a school with like 2,000 kids, and there's no bakery in front of it, right? You open up a bakery and you have no competition. That's wrong. Because what problem would that bakery solve? Well, the hunger of the school kids. Okay, are they hungry right now? Oh, no. You can buy a sandwich, you can buy a chocolate, you can buy a piece of fruit. So, do you have competition? Yeah, strong entrenched competition, which will easily squeeze you out, right? Nobody solving your problem with your exact technology doesn't mean that you don't have competition, right? So that was the hypothetical example. An example from real life. I had a wonderful client who was a psychologist, and her target market were um, upper middle-aged women who have achieved everything in life that life was supposed to ask of them. So they had well, they achieved it all, and they were still unhappy. So okay, she helped them, and that's great. But when we were talking about competition, she said, okay, professor this and institute that, and yes, okay, all good. And I said, what about fortune tellers? And she's like, what do you mean? It's like I asked about cheese or something, and I said, well, who goes to fortune tellers? Well, okay, mostly women. Okay, mostly middle-aged women. And why? Because they're unhappy. So the same people with the same problem go to somebody else. That's competition. And she almost threw me out. she got upset because she said, well, what fortune tellers can't really help those people. And I said, absolutely, you're right. But you know that. Your typical client doesn't. So this is a very important point to make. You knowing that there's no real alternative to you doesn't mean much if your clients don't see it. They will happily compare you to the uncomparable because they don't know that you're uncomparable to competition, and this brings people down. They say, I'm outpriced by amateurs from Fiverr or whatever all day long. How can I ever compete with that, right? Somebody who has a side job or somebody from a country that has much lower living costs They eat me. They eat my lunch every day, right? How can you? Absolutely can. It's the point is that you have to know how to express your value in a way that your client can see it, because, and this is not illogical. um, Clients only want to pay for the values that they can see. What they can't see, they won't pay for. That's okay. We're like that as well, right? um, and it's sometimes surprising to see how much people who are really good at their craft don't really don't really understand why people buy their services, right? Um, you can be a psychologist and be very attuned to how to solve people's problems, but not really get when do people reach for a psychologist's help, right? In their mind, when you have a serious enough problem, you'll reach out. Usually, you don't do that until you are at the wit's end. So much, 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 much worse than you should have. But you don't see it that clearly that you need help in time. You see it when it's almost too late, right? It's the same with all medical practitioners. Whoever you ask, the number one problem is people coming too late, right? Um, but they don't get it. They say, she's clearly in pain. Uh, yes, to you. That's that's a big difference. That's a big difference. So, um, helping people get to know their markets, which they served for sometimes 25 years without really understanding why they come, is really an eye-opening experience, and I admit I have a lot of fun um, uh, hearing people say, "Oh, that's why." um, with the cheap and the expensive, humans have some some interesting instincts. Um, so I'll give you an example here. Let's say that by government mandate, because of COVID, whatever, you need to have a black box in your house. It doesn't really matter what shape or size, but it needs to be black. It needs to be a box. Okay, so you go buy one, and there's one model that's $50, one model that's $100, and by default, you don't really care which one, so you'll buy the cheaper one. That's how most people think, and that's completely valid. Why would you pay double the price, right? But as you reach for it, you get a message from somebody that says, "Watch out, one of these may explode when you touch it." Which one are you going to buy now? If you're like most people, you're going to buy the more expensive one, because firstly, we have this perception that if it costs more, then it's worth more, right? Um, but when it comes to services, and especially expert services, um, we can't really tell. I don't speak or can and cannot read Japanese. If I pay two people to translate into Japanese, I can't tell a Google Translate job from perfection. I really can't. There's no way I can look at that and say, this guy is better. He's worth his price. I have no idea, right? Show me uh, um, too complicated contracts, right? And say, so which lawyer is better for you? I have no way of knowing that. So back to the black box, right? Expert services are very often black boxes. I know I should see a psychologist, but I can't really tell them apart. I know I really should, I don't know, get expert advice on my taxes, but I have no idea how to tell them apart. So in that case, if I'm worried, I'm going to take the more expensive one, because even if it blows up, then I said, okay, I used all of the information that I had, and it still didn't work out. Fine. But if I know that there's a danger and I take the cheaper one and it blows up, I will be mad at myself. I would say, well, what I was I thinking would happen, right? I mean, yes, it's double the price, but it's $50 and I have a burnt hand, right? I should have seen that this is a choice of paying $50 not to get my hand burned, and that's a good deal, right? So it very much matters whether you can communicate um, the value to your clients or not, because as long as everybody is the same, so I need a logo, it's just a logo, whatever. It doesn't matter who does it. Then yeah, you'll go to Fiverr. That's it. But if you know that so many things can go wrong in that process of making a logo and how much that can cost you, then you're not going to go to Fiverr. Mostly people don't see that. People don't know about logos. They're they're like badges, right? So something like that. And by the way, this is just a small tangent. The word "just." So, like I said, I have small kids, and I'm teaching them that "just" is a bad word when you're talking about somebody else's work. So you can say, "I'm just going to send you this." That's not a problem. But hey, can you just fix my computer? That's inappropriate, because you have no idea if that's just or no, not just. You can't speak for them, right? That's minimizing language. The clients
Yeah.
do it all the time, but I think that it's an impolite thing to do, and I think um, it should be called out, because yeah, doctor, can you just make my lungs not hurt in the morning? Um, the thing about expertise is that it's not really um, easy to switch. It's not really interchangeable. It doesn't really matter who will wash your car. Of course, there's good car washers and bad car washers, of course. But it's the same as saying there are tall people and short people. Yes, absolutely. But nobody is 6 times as tall or 6 times as short, right? And it's not the same with expert services. So the best lawyer in the world for your kind of case is not 20% better than the average one. He's several times or several dozen times uh, better, or 1,000 sometimes. Right? The greatest code developer in the world is not 50% better than the average one. The difference is way bigger. It's like saying some people are rich and some people are poor. Yeah, there are many multiples in that. So tall, not tall, that's like most services, most interchangeable commoditized services. Expert services are not like that at all. It really matters, right? It really matters who will do this, who will do that. I mean, it's easy to imagine. Just imagine somebody switching your medical doctor, your GP, every two weeks. How would you feel about that, right? Yeah, because they're not interchangeable. Not everybody with a medical degree is going to do the same kind of job and know what your GP should know, right? Um, I mean, yeah, they have the files. It's absolutely not the same. And if they're not interchangeable, then they cannot be commoditized. And people still buy them as commodities, right? Oh, well, we need some marketing advice, right? Great. So who's the cheapest? You can do that with 4 cleaning crews. And yeah, you're probably not, you probably won't do the best thing in the world to just take the cheapest one, but doing that will probably not harm you much. Doing that with somebody with marketing advice will harm you. Period. That's not even funny how much that will hurt, right? And people think it's okay. They often don't see the difference. Even the practitioners, even the experts, don't see the difference, right? That's why they ask, how can I compete with, Fiverr? I can't afford that. You don't have to. You don't have to. You simply have to communicate in a way that people see that is absolutely not the same thing, and there's great pain possible as a consequence of doing that, of trying to buy something that's not a commodity as a commodity. I mean, you can't really come to your doctor and say, "Hello, I would like a triple bypass and some pills, but not too red, until Tuesday, like 10 a.m. How much is that?" Right? You can't talk to them. They'll say, "Dude, sit down, shut up, tell me your symptoms. I'll tell you if something needs to be done, or you need to have a checkup with another specialist." That's how you talk to experts, right? Um, it's as long as people view you as, well, I could do this, I just don't have the time. So you're my extension, you're my additional pair of hands. They're not going to value you because it's, just sweep the floors. And in expert work, they usually can't. They usually can't even imagine what needs to be done. They know what they want, but they don't know what they need. You need to come in and push back sometimes, often, and tell them, I know what you want, but what you just said should be done is not what should be done. This should be done if you want that result. If you do this, here's the pitfall, and here's the pitfall, and here's the pitfall, and you're going to bang your head over there. So you're welcome to try, or get somebody who will say, yes sir, yes sir, okay, I'll do that. Oh, it didn't work. Okay, here's my bill. Right? And this is what happens very, very often. People stumble into this. They are used to paying non-experts, and they try to pay experts like that, and they're experts desperate enough to say yes, and then it doesn't work because they just did what the client said, and then the client is unhappy. The expert has a very low job satisfaction because they knew it was going to happen, right? And the client says, "Oh, these experts, they have no idea what they're doing," right? So it's not a good fit for everybody. And anyway,
No.
this is a very common thing that happens.
I'm loving everything that you're saying, Philip, and it's so clear to me listening to you. First of all, how passionate you are about this. Also, how many experiences you've had with many different industries, people in different industries, and you've got a lot of stories to validate this whole value worth, how we value ourselves and how we price ourselves. And it's funny, it's not about pricing, is it? It is about it's the value piece, and then you look at the whole, like how the value is actually derived, how it is presented and then sold.
Absolutely.
It's wonderful. I'd love you to hear your take on six-star. What is a six-star business in terms of what you do? So what does that look like? If you could describe that to us.
Well, somebody at the top of their game, who understands not just how to do stuff, but why people buy it. So, like I said, it's rare, but it happens. I've seen it happen, and it's a wonderful thing when people know their value and can stand behind it. And the clients like it as well. Um, and there, when you can see the magic happen, somebody stumbles in and asks, "Is this even possible?" And the expert says, "Yes, not like that, but like this, and that shall we do it?" And then, so any expert that can actually lead the client and do their work, like I said, like some of the more respected expert classes, like surgeons, right? You don't really offer much opinion on what should be done to a surgeon, and they don't know how lucky they are, uh, or that. So anybody who has the knowledge, of course, but also the status of a surgeon, and is something else, an expert of other kind, that can really dig in and do what needs to be done when it needs to be done, and charge for it, and everybody is happy after that. So there's what they call a double thank you moment, right? The client is happy to pay, and you're happy to get that kind of money. That's the 6-star level of experience that I've seen happen, and it's a wonderful thing each time it happens. I think it would be a better world in general if more experts got to that level. For the experts, but for the world in general, I think that would be a very good thing. Because undervaluing experts is a bad thing. I have nothing against supermodels and football players and whatever, but as long as we're revering those and treating experts like dirt, I don't think that's a good that's a good way of getting forward as a civilization. If I may be dramatic.
I like your perspective. Yeah.
Definitely.
I'm conscious of the time. Ron, do you have any burning question you'd like to ask Filip?
No, I think I asked them as I was going. I'm just literally, after this, I have to go away and think about this for a while, because like it's just, you've blown my mind just wide open, and I really didn't have any expectations coming on, but like I'm gonna track down your YouTube channel and have a look, because it's it's just very thought provoking, and I love it. You've already changed a few of my perspectives, and I'm thinking, that's right, jeez. And I agree with you about how the world would be different if we actually valued experts rather than superficial and that. And like, I know exactly what you're talking about, like especially coming from the tech world. I see a lot of people that basically they try to provide tech solutions, and they want to charge like a heart surgeon, but they're actually GPs. They're not really experts in the field they're trying to do everything in, and as a result, the client doesn't get the solution that suits them. They're against IT people. They're against everybody who's supposedly an expert, and it's that really downward spiral. And I've been in the tech industry. I've been fighting that for many years. And so I totally understand where you're coming from. So it's great.
I also started from IT, so I know exactly what you're talking about, right? Sorry.
Yeah.
Go on.
No, I think we could all benefit from what you're saying, and I think for the listeners of this podcast, go onto Filip's YouTube channel. We'll put the link in the show notes, and watch as many videos as you can, and really get stuck into them, because we all as a society, and no matter what industry we're in, we all can do better with valuing ourselves better and what we're worth. And we're here at 6-Star Business. We want to do better. We want to be better, and we can't be better for others unless we are best for ourselves. And that means valuing ourselves, right?
Absolutely. Also, there's a public access Q&A every week. So for half an hour, people from all over the world come and ask me questions, and I give them direct answers. And that's been going on for a while. So I always record that, and I put it on YouTube. So there's like 200 questions answered already. So anybody is free to come and ask the direct questions. I get inspiration for the best of my work, just like that, from real questions from experts all over the world. And it's
I
been
love it.
wonderful. So yeah.
That's brilliant. It's brilliant. Okay, I'm so regretful to have to close out this conversation. It's gone so fast. It always goes fast, right? And it's just been beautiful. Is there a golden nugget or a piece of advice or something that you can leave our listeners with, Philip, as we draw to a close?
So I'm going to joke a little bit, but worry your clients, get them worried, not unduly, duly. Don't if you see a problem down the road, the way they're heading, tell them that, right? Don't be afraid to. They don't see it. It's not plain to them, and like I said, um, if they don't see their problem as a big pain, they're just going to go with the cheapest one because I tried to solve it. It's obviously not solvable anyway. So, and if they see, oh, even if I think it's not solvable, this will hurt if I don't solve it, then they will actually reach out and pay somebody a real price for it and not just a token one, right? So pricing competition in expert work is not a thing. Don't even try it. It hurts and doesn't lead anywhere. Don't compete on price. Compete on value. That's it.
I love that. Well, thank you so much, Philip. I'm so grateful to have your wisdom and expertise on our show today. Thank you, Bronwyn. And I'm, just again, very grateful for you to be here.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. And Philip, it's been great meeting you too.
You as well. Thank you for this opportunity to speak out to people, and it's been absolutely great. And I can't wait to hear it, despite my voice.
Your voice is fine. Thank you so much.